6:50 is the time. Back here with your Smart Start for this Tuesday, and several breaking stories just into our newsroom. A teen boy is in the hospital after he was shot this morning in the Park Ave neighborhood.
This happened just around 3 o'clock near Tracy and Alexander Streets. Police found the 16-year-old victim, were able to rush him to the hospital, and he is luckily expected to live. Police say they are still investigating what led up to the shooting, but at this point, they say there doesn't appear to be any ongoing threat to public safety in this area.
More new updates to share on a late-night encounter between a man on parole and RPD that turned into a chase through city streets. Around 10:30 p.m., officers say they tried to stop a man near Lyle Avenue and Saratoga Street when the suspect hopped in a car and started to take off. RPD says as officers moved in with the K9 unit, the suspect accelerated, hitting an officer with the car's door. The pursuit ended on Fulton Avenue when the 26-year-old tried to ditch the car and was caught. Investigators say this man was already on parole and wearing an ankle monitor at the time. He's now facing new charges of reckless endangerment and unlawful fleeing of an officer. No first responders were injured in all of that.
And in further breaking news, right now in Hamlin, first responders and deputies are at the scene of a barn fire on Lake Road East Fork. That area is right now shut down between North Hamlin Road and Church Road. So we'll try to avoid this area. We have more live updates coming out for you throughout the rest of our day. And stay with us for further updates on all these breaking stories. RochesterFirst.com.
So that issue there on the west side to keep in mind this morning. Elsewhere around the Metro and Monroe County, things are moving along. See a big blue Amazon truck passing over the bridge downtown right there. 590 north and southbound looking good. 490, everything's moving along pretty good and even at speed, getting through the work zone on the bridges, crossing 490 in Bushnell's Basin and Parrington. It is the end of a chapter for the Fishers Fire Department in Victor, and it's the final one. The Board of Commissioners did vote unanimously to dissolve the district once and for all. Last night's decision with the Board of Commissioners only took about 10 seconds, and there's that vote, leaving the majority of those in attendance, first responders, neighbors, outraged and worried about the future of emergency response times in their community.
They've continually not listened to people. Back during the public comment meeting, they listened to 3.5 hours of people telling them that they didn't want the fire district to go away.
There's no concern for public safety. They strictly only talked about their concern for finances. There was never a concern or never a thought about what happens to public safety when they cut services. It was strictly about cutting taxes.
Before casting their votes, each board member read statements on why they personally believe this decision to be in the best interest of the community, saying they had no other option.
No chance of merging, no interest in cost cutting from a workforce that has gotten used to high compensation and benefits, and a financial catastrophe looming 10 years from now when the current workforce finishes vests and starts to retire. We have no choice but to dissolve.
Fishers first responders there at the fire department do plan to keep on serving until October 1st. Now, Victortown officials are still working on a plan as well to fill in the gaps of coverage as required by law when they take over. Until that happens, what you may see is the town partnering with neighboring agencies.
The owner of Jackson's Bakery in Greece under arrest yet again. Greece police tell us a 35-year-old Matthew Belk is accused of stealing a car on Stone Road worth more than $3 grand. This investigation started all back in July the 2nd and prompted police to create a wanted poster for Belk. The exact charges he faces have not yet been confirmed, but he was released on an appearance ticket. And also back in July, Belk had been arrested previously by the Ontario County Sheriff's Office for possession of a stolen van, credit cards, and cocaine. Belk took over as the owner of Jackson's Bakery in 2021. That business briefly forced to close earlier this year due to health code violations.
To Washington, President Trump hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and a number of leaders from Europe at the White House Monday, trying to bring an end to the war in Ukraine.
This meeting comes on the heels of President Trump's sit-down with Russian President Vladimir Putin, that happening in Alaska last Friday. President Trump said he called the Russian leader shortly after Monday's meeting with Zelensky in hopes of setting up a summit and having these two world leaders meet. Well, once again, dismissing the need for a ceasefire before future meetings, despite the insistence from European leaders also in
I can't imagine that the next meeting would take place without a ceasefire.
We can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting.
The president says he wants to join Putin and Zelensky after the two leaders speak face to face.
Well, a story for you new this Tuesday morning. 2 local men are ready to run through the rugged trails of the Oregon Cascades as they are raising money for charity.
Yeah, they start in just a few days. So Ron Spitzer checked up in with them during their practices, gauging how they feel ahead of the race. Now in studio with that story, Ron.
Yeah, guys, those men, Charlie Ruff from Brighton and Jake Metzger from Penfield, plan to complete the ultra marathon, which is a 100-mile race going through trails from Bend, Oregon to Sisters, and this all to raise money for the Parkinson's Foundation. Their goal is to complete the race in just 24 hours. So far, the two have raised over $25,000, and their goal is $35,000. They've been avid runners for years, but they've never done anything like this before. The Parkinson's Foundation aims to improve the quality of life for those struggling with the disease through research, resources, education, and providing access to care. Parkinson's is the second most common neurodegenerative disorder in the United States following Alzheimer's. Both men have ties to people suffering from the disease, so running to raise money for the cause was a natural fit.
I've always wanted to do 100 miles. You get a cool belt buckle at the end, and then to raise money and see how far we can take it.
As we've done this, the amount of people who have reached out who have said, actually, I have a father or a friend or an aunt or somebody else who's dealing with Parkinson's in my life, and they've been supporting us along the way. And so kind of tapping into that community has been really eye-opening to give you an idea of just how widespread this is.
The race begins Saturday. Both Ruff and Metzger say they'll be thinking of their families to keep them going. Guys.
Ron, thanks. That video, sunshine, no rain, could have been from anytime now, going back to 4th of July, it seems.
Yeah, but not today.
Yeah. Not today, no. Unfortunately, we still do have those clouds. We'll continue to experience fall-like conditions here in Rochester, at least temperature-wise, with temps getting up into the upper 70s, having a hard time getting into the 80s. We'll stay in the 70s throughout much of the rest of the week, and then 80s for a little bit of some time, but right back down into the 70s. And on the note of fall, the story that we did yesterday about the best places, it looks like they actually extended the time, and Rochester is still in second, so we need to vote.
Vote. Being number 1, USA Today. Talking about that, a whole lot more coming your way. 9 o'clock, second cup of sunrise, the podcast on the Rochester First streaming app.
Yeah, vote with them live at 9. Brennan did that yesterday. Have a great day, everyone.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, X, and on our app for news and weather. Get the Rochester First streaming app today for everything you love from News 8 on demand. Plus exclusive shows you won't see anywhere else. Search ROC and download for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.